Hello, we are going to get the mathing here with absolute value basics. And what is absolute value? Well, absolute value is simply the distance away from 0. So the absolute value of 3 is 3 because it's 3 spaces away from 0. But oddly enough, the absolute value of -3 is also 3 because it is 3 spaces away from 0. There's no consideration here of which direction we're going. It's just how far from 0. So absolute value is a grouping, and these are the absolute value signs. Just two parallel lines, two parallel vertical lines. So this would say, what is the absolute value of 3? And that would be 3. But what is the absolute value of -3? And that would also be 3. So let's look at some of these problems here. So the absolute value of 5, of course, we know that 5 is 5 spots away from 0. So the answer there is 5. And we know 9 is 9 spaces away from 0. So the answer there is 9. And -6, even though we're going the other direction, we still are talking about spaces only. So -6 has an absolute value of 6. And -10 has an absolute value of 10 because it is 10 spaces away from 0. So this is fairly easy. It gets a little bit more complicated when we add in one more element here, and that is to have a negative sign outside of the absolute value grouping. So if we think about a 5 in a parenthesis, well, this is a 5, and what this negative sign means outside of here is there is a -1 that we're going to multiply by. It's one of those invisible numbers in math. So what that really means is there's a little -1, and I'm going to multiply it by whatever's in here. So the negative here turns into -5. And the same thing is true of absolute value. So taking an instance like this, we're going to do our grouping first, which is here, because the absolute value is a grouping. So -4 is 4 spaces away from 0. So the answer to this is 4. But we have this negative sign out here, which means multiply that by a -1. And 4 times a -1, of course, is -4. So we can think about that in an easier way, but that is really what's happening here. So -6 is 6 spaces away from 0. And here we're going to do 2 steps. -4 is 4 spaces away from 0, but we have to apply this -1 to it, so it ends up being -4. 1 is 1 space away from 0, so we've done that, but we have to apply that negative to it, so the answer is -1. There's really 2 parts to this. Okay, again, we're going to handle our grouping. -7 is 7 spaces away from 0, but we have that negative outside. We have to apply that, -1. And our answer is -7, 5, this grouping. 5 is 5 spaces away from 0, applying that negative. And -2 is 2 spaces away from 0, but we're multiplying by that -1, so that answer is -2. So here's some work you're going to do on your own. So at this time, I invite you to stop the video, do these 6 problems, and then start the video again and check and correct your work. Welcome back. Hopefully you have these 6 problems finished. We're going to go through these quickly and you can check your work. So again, handling this grouping, 2 is 2 spaces away from 0. -4 is 4 spaces away from 0. 8 is 8 spaces away from 0, but I need to multiply by that negative. So we have an answer of -8. -6 is 6 spaces away from 0, but I'm going to apply that negative. 3 is 3 spaces away from 0, but I have to apply that negative. And negative 22 is 22 spaces away from 0. All right, you have 4 more here to do on your own. Go ahead and try these. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.